I am joined today by Colin and Max.
We'll probably look at deals between 60,000, upwards of say $500,000.
Relationships, so do you have time? Do you have partners? With experience comes knowledge. So your knowledge is obviously a lot better than the recent deal sources who have surfaced on social media.
People out there who are busy working professionals who generally did not have the time to go out and find deals.
So guys, welcome to another podcast with me, Stephen Hamilton. I am joined today by Colin and Max. And guys, thank you very much for joining me.
Thanks for having us.
It's a pleasure to have you here. Do you want to introduce yourself to the people and let them know who you are, please?
So my name's Max, I'm 22, from Essex, and
my name's Collins, 24. I'm not sure what I'm saying ages, but no, from London.
No, it's good to know your ages.
Yeah.
It's good.
Gives a bit of context.
Perspective. We own and run a deal sourcing company in central London.
Okay. Yeah. So do you want to explain what the company's called, please?
Yeah, so as you can see it on the camera, it's Procured Property.
We'll put it up on the screen.
We'll
put it up on the screen. Yes.
Yeah, so Procured Property.
Okay.
And sort of established sort of 4 years ago.
So Procured Property, London-based deal sourcing company or property investment company, how you want to look at it, and exactly what it says on the tin. You know, we help your busy working professional or individual get started in property through residential purchases, or someone who's looking to scale their portfolio. In England specifically, so we just connect them with the best residential buy-to-let properties up and down the country.
That's a good explanation.
Yeah,
I like that one. So deal sourcing, terrible name in the industry for certain people, and certain people have made it that way. We're trying to put a spin on it here at the Property Circle to show people that deal sourcing is a great way to make an unbelievable income if you are good at it.
Yeah. So
what sets you guys apart from other companies that do what you do?
I think predominantly would be my background was before the whole sort of deal sourcing and how it's been pushed on social media and the internet. I worked for essentially a deal sourcing company. It was a property investment company in London, and that's really where I got started in property. And what they were doing is exactly the same thing, but just the new build property. So we would introduce investors to off-plan stock, and which made me realize very quickly like how popular and there was a massive need for the service. There were people out there who were busy working professionals who generally did not have the time to go out and find deals, but specifically they didn't actually want to learn as much as we knew about the market, to do the research, to do the checklist and all this sort of stuff. So how it all got started was from there, and what separates us from a lot of people who are doing deal sourcing now or just getting into it is because I carried that experience from how to do things properly from an institution point of view, and made it as simple as possible for people to understand and work with us. So that's definitely what separates us, is that experience, and over time we've just managed to get access to some of the best stock up and down the country at a crazy price, because we're getting it wholesale.
So with experience comes knowledge.
Yeah.
So your knowledge is obviously a lot better than the recent deal sources who have surfaced on social media. I'm not going to say any names, by the way. We're not into that. How did you two meet?
Yeah, good question.
Yeah, I actually said that. I said, what are we going to say?
Yeah, the smiles. The smiles probably tell a story on their own.
Yeah, I think it's quite an unusual one. Okay. I mean, it sort of happened just quite out of the blue. I mean, give a bit of background about myself. I've been in property now for about 2 years. Me and Collins was at a previous firm before, and sort of prior to meeting Collins, I was within the construction industry. So I was working for like housing developer, and sort of had an apprenticeship there. And sort of, I was looking to get into property, and just sort of was looking online for events and stuff like that, networking events. Went down to one, I think it was in like central London, Farringdon. And
I think that was was it Moorgate?
I think it was in Moorgate.
Down the road.
I turned up, and obviously Collins was there, obviously, speaking to people, etc. And yeah, I just think we just sort of hit it off. You know, it was speaking, obviously, you know, similar ages as well. And yeah, I think seeing Collins and obviously what he was doing, it was sort of for me and myself, it was sort of the
catalyst.
The catalyst to sort of,
yeah.
get involved with obviously what he was doing. And I think from there, it sort of,
it snowballed.
Yeah.
So what made you say, yeah, actually, I do want you to work with me?
I think it was a case because at the time we were running networking events for investors, sort of just dotted around London, and so every now and then we'll come across like young people who wanted to get into property, but they were like in between the whole sort of, should I do uni, should I do this, and all that sort of stuff. And when I saw Max was very sort of switched on. Not to say the others weren't switched on, but it was a bit more grounded in a sense of what he wanted to achieve, and he had a very good background in construction. And really, I think it was like scrap everything. It was just the energy, the relationship that we hit up. So I could go on and say everything.
Energy is important.
It was just the energy.
So you hit it off from day one.
Yeah, and I think
And obviously, previously working together, you already had some kind of synergy together anyway.
Yeah.
Is that right?
We didn't. No, didn't know.
Did you work for the same company?
Yeah, after that.
Oh, after that.
Yeah,
Sorry.
It was like a few months. Well, was it a few months later? Because
it was a few months later. I came down, and then I think I sort of weaved my way into the firm.
Okay.
I was chasing Collins up, asking for
constantly.
I was like, let me come in, try and do some work experience, whatever.
Yeah.
Got in, and then obviously, they sort of took me on, and obviously ever since then we sort of stayed in contact, and then sort of branched out into obviously what we was doing.
Okay.
Obviously doing now.
That's good. It shows that networking is key.
Oh,
yeah, 100%.
And you was doing networking events, which obviously shows that your thoughts on networking.
Yeah. No, I think it's super important because it's for myself. I think where I've sort of skipped a lot of the years is being around people who are, a few moves ahead, a few years ahead in whatever they're doing, and the best way to do that was to get out there, to network. I think at the time as well, I was attending a lot of networking events, more sort of closed, not necessarily property focused, but more sort of business focused. In just hotels, used to just turn up and to see what I could soak up. So networking is
super
huge.
important.
What do they say? I think your network is your
net worth. I say it all the time. It's my most important saying.
Yeah.
Network is your net worth. I believe in that because if I wasn't around the people I'm around, I genuinely would not be doing this right now. So I needed certain people around me to help me and show me.
It gives you leverage as well. There's only so much you can sort of do on your own.
Yeah.
And having obviously other people around you, different experiences, different knowledge, it sort of gives you that.
Opens doors.
Yeah, opens doors. 100%.
You get into places that you didn't even know. They say that you're one person away from where you want to be.
Yeah.
So it's quite important to have a good network. I was told by a few people, Steve, if you put your face on camera, then you're going to get a lot of attention, as in criticism, hate, because people don't really shout about your success. And when you're successful, you don't get a thumbs up for being successful, but you get a
thumbs
comment
down
straight away as soon as you do something wrong. So a friend of mine was like, Steve, as soon as you put your face on camera, be prepared. Touch wood, we haven't had any negative, not even one comment yet.
Well,
I know some funny guy who's watching this is definitely going to put something in
the comments. I'm ready for it.
Well, I think if you are getting the hate, you must be doing something right.
Yeah, but
not everyone's going to agree with what you're doing.
That was my saying. I used to say, if you're getting some hate and negative press, you must be doing something 100%. Right. But since we've been doing this, I've realised that if you're just a nice person, and you actually come across as a nice person and you tell the truth, then you don't get hate anyway.
Yeah, of course.
But it's two sides, so you just have to wait and see. We've only been doing it a couple of months on social media with my face, so next month I might be calling you guys saying, for fuck's sake, I interview, it's gone terrible. So personal brand I think is quite a big thing, and like you said, it shows a lot of trust in the company and stuff like that. Going back to your brand, and you mentioned the word deal sourcing at the beginning. How do you guys acquire your properties? So, we have a lot of people who will send us deals. We will evaluate them and we will check out if everything adds up. If it all adds up, then we will use that deal. That's how we do it. How do you guys do it?
Yeah, so I think we sort of taken advantage of our youth. So what I mean by that is, in terms of where we get our deals from, the first channel is ads. It's Google ads, Facebook ads, going direct to the vendor and just sort of take them through that journey, because there's no middle person, there's no estate agent, there's nothing. So that's quite handy. It can be very expensive.
Yep. What's your lead gen costing right now per lead?
For a vendor, I mean, it can be, we're looking at about anything between £9 up to £20 a lead.
Yeah, I was told by a friend of mine yesterday, £27 a lead he's paying now, whereas 18 months ago he was getting everything for like £2-3.
Yeah.
Because of the whole changes and everything.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not.
Yeah.
We run Facebook ads,
Yeah.
but we have someone who does it for us. Isabella knows all the figures and stuff like that. I just know how many leads come in.
Yeah.
But yeah, a friend of mine yesterday was saying he's on £27 now a lead compared to what it was 18 months ago.
Oh yeah, I mean the other day because you know how Facebook is sometimes. I mean they're just so random with things. I think we paid, it must have been about 36 quid for a single lead. Turned out it was the wrong number as well.
Oh, was it really?
Yeah, you know, it's just like, oh gosh.
So do you guys make the calls yourself when you get the leads, or do you leave it to your team?
Max does the acquisitions for me, and so you have a lot of conversations.
So I speak to a lot of the vendors, negotiate on the prices.
Yeah.
You know, finding out the vendor situation.
Do you find it difficult at the minute?
In terms of what? The
Speaking
negotiate?
and the vendor, because they've contacted you from a Facebook ad.
Yeah.
They have, like, their expectations are not real. Like, their figures that they're coming out with is what they're thinking in their heads, and then trying to get them to understand the market value is difficult, because we have lead gen, and we make a few calls from some of the leads we get, and I just find it's like I'm banging my head against a brick wall with certain people.
Yeah.
Trying, we want 130,000. I'm like, no, you don't understand. Your street value is only 110.
Yeah.
No, but the market's crazy at the minute. I read it in the newspapers yesterday, so I want 130. And I'm just like, I'm just wasting my time right now. Do you find any of that, or are you?
I think it's on a deal, you know, a deal by deal basis. You know, a lot of vendors, depending on the situation they're in, you know, can sometimes be motivated for different reasons. And I guess if that's the case, then, you know, even like you say, if they're looking for a certain price, however they are motivated, then you know, they're obviously going to look to take whatever they can get.
But it is numbers, isn't it?
Yeah, it's
you know, you do enough, you speak to enough people, you get, you know, a handful.
Yeah, you're not going to not all the leads that drop in. Obviously, you know, you're going to do a deal on.
But the expectations sometimes from some of these vendors.
I find the Facebook lead gen's quite difficult personally to speak to them, because, like I said, calling from a Facebook ad and their expectations are unrealistic, and I struggle to have that conversation because it's like I'm banging my head against a brick wall. Yeah. What other marketing do you do? Like you said, you do Google ads, you do the Facebook ads.
And then I think where we've been really successful is we work with a lot of the national suppliers up and down the country. So most people aren't actually aware of these companies, but there's companies in the shadows.
Yeah. Don't name them then.
Yeah, no,
every single person.
Yeah, I
know.
We don't need any more competition. They're in the shadows and they just churn through properties. I mean, we're talking about our sort of small budget. It's a decent amount we spend every month, but compared to what they spend, they just cover the whole UK. And as a result of that, we just developed a partnership with these companies where we can provide them
on
virtually
exit, on the property.
Okay.
You know, because the way we nurture our investors and they're primed, they're pretty much ready to go. Which is quite handy for these people. So for the client, for the investor, they're getting fantastic deals at rock bottom prices because of the fact that they've done all the hard work, their suppliers. This is why, from a customer sort of lifetime value, or however you want to stack it, it costs us essentially nothing because they've spent the money on marketing, they've nurtured the vendor and all that sort of stuff. So we get a very good price for the client, and for them, all they want to do is just get these properties off their books, because they've got a balance sheet, they've got year-end targets, they've got, you know, discuss with the board where they're at with everything. So we come in at the right time, we just get a lot of this stock coming through. So that's, I'd say, 75% of our stock?
Oh, wow.
75%. Yeah, 75%. And well, that probably equates to, on a monthly basis, maybe 50 opportunities?
Okay.
Of which not all of them.
I understand, every month's different, but 50 opportunities especially in today's market, is unbelievable. There's not a lot really that's there that adds up with numbers at the minute.
Yeah, and that's the thing.
And it's diverse as well. You know, it's some of the properties that come in a turnkey.
Yep.
You know, ready to go.
Yeah.
Equity's built in.
Yeah.
Obviously, some
So
of the
people who don't understand that. So essentially,
I was about to say,
Yeah,
so like turnkey, yes,
Yeah.
we do explain it on a few of our videos, but when you just give them an explanation of what turnkey is, please.
Turnkey is basically something that's, you know, you can pick up the property, you know, it's ready to go, refurbishment's already done, it's literally open the door, turnkey.
It's ready to let the day you buy it, isn't it?
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah.
But more specifically, where it's really good for investors and why people use us and why people like us is that it's got equity built into the property straight away because we've got it at discount.
Yep.
Now a lot of people ask, you know, why and you know how on earth do you get these discounts like on day one? Predominantly, like I said, is these wholesaling companies.
Yeah.
Give them give everyone at home a numbers breakdown of a house that you would do, typical house that you would do, and what kind of equity is built into something. I know everything's based on different scenarios, but give them a typical example, please.
Yeah, I mean, I would say for us, you know, if we're working with a client, just to mention, we always have a minimum on the deal that we have come in. You know, whatever property, whatever the area, you know, if it's a 2-bed, 3-bed, semi-detached, turnkey, or there's £10,000 worth of refurbishments required, it's always at a 15% below discount.
Okay, so you actually have a target in the company.
Yep.
You've got 15% below market value. That is the bare minimum.
That's not necessarily to say you're just going to see that.
Yeah.
But that's an absolute minimum.
Okay,
I mean,
that's good.
You know, we have quite a few come through, which is maybe 20% discount. And not just that, it's obviously a yield as well. So we'll say a 5% yield as a minimum, and a 10% return on cash.
Okay.
Cash employed. So, yeah, like I say, the properties that coming back to your question, that come in, typically, you know, we'll probably look at deals between sort of 60,000 upwards of say $500,000.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, you know, those two price points are a different type of investor. And yeah, I would say, you know, 15% below market value, all across England as well. So from Southampton all the way up to sort of like Newcastle.
Nothing in Wales, guys? You don't mess with Wales?
No, not for now anyway.
Any plans in the future to go to Wales?
We get that a lot.
I, from experience, would advise you to go to Wales.
Yeah,
from
a lot
experience.
of people are saying that. We get. It's
I have a huge portfolio in Wales. It's a joke, but north and south, and the returns, it's crazy. Wales is such a good place to go. Investors love Wales as well. Yeah. You just have to understand there's a little bit of different regulation, like stamp duty higher and certain things.
It would just be a transition for us because now we're very. We're not saying we're huge, but to make like decisions like that, it takes a bit more time because things have to be put in place.
Yep.
But we get a lot of people saying, you know, Wales is doing. I mean, over the last probably 6 years, I'd say. Yeah. You probably know a lot better than myself.
Yeah, Wales is great. I'm a big advocate for Wales. Not the football team, but I'm a big advocate for Wales. I mean, we bought 3 houses there last week. Yeah. And I think all of them, in total, we had about 90 to 100k profit in the 3. Yeah. Just by buying them as they are. So Wales is a little bit behind England as well at the minute. So England are still flying high with the sales. Yeah. So you call up an estate agent. I mean, you guys don't do this, but if you call up an estate agent and say you want to book a viewing on a house in Manchester, there's 40 people already booked. In Wales, it was that. Now it's dipped off. So the deals are back again in Wales now.
I think on that as well, and coming back to why people, our good clients like working with us is because most of the time where they're sort of not, the properties that we get come through are not from, you know, necessarily estate agents. Yep. There's no viewings happening on the property anyway. Yeah. You know, most of the clients that
there's no competition, is there? No, you have no competition.
No.
So you get offered the house. I'm presuming you get a certain amount of time, a week, 4 days, whatever, to make a decision on it. And then your investor's got time to go away, do their due diligence, make sure they're happy, and you've got no one competing against you. Yeah. So you're in the perfect field, aren't you, for where you're at?
Exactly, and that's what, especially when I was looking at like setting up the whole Procured brand, it was because you had a lot of competition in like the new build space. You've got people, you know, the one deal gets bounced around, you know, multiple people, as you know. So it was really just identifying where we could have, because you're making money in controlling the deal. You know, where there's no competition. I think that's in any sort of business move. It's where you got control and time. So that is one of the biggest USPs that we have, is we give the investor time to make a decision and control. And of course, the Rockwell.
Yeah, and
can you explain what USP is to the people who don't know as well?
So unique selling point. Yeah. So why
every business should have one, shouldn't they?
Yeah. And if you don't know what your USP is, it's I mean, you go back to pen and paper and just really think about, you know, what it is you're offering, because people rush into product, selling product. But first, just understand just the why. You know, what is it that you're doing, and why should people use you over? Because nowadays, as you said earlier on,
you can speak openly.
Yeah, you know when I'm hesitating. There's hundreds of deal sources now getting churned out.
They are absolutely fucking shit, aren't they?
Yeah.
They are terrible. There's some terrible deal sources out there. There is some very inexperienced people sitting in front of a laptop, pulling a house off Rightmove, breaking it down and trying to sell it you for £3,000, £4,000, £5,000. That's ridiculous. It is so bad. Again, that's what we're trying to stamp out.
I don't blame the individual. I blame where they got the information from.
Well, it's YouTube.
You know?
It's mainly YouTube. That's where the information is coming from, directly to, especially the younger generation. It's YouTube. It's people selling dreams. Yeah. It's people saying you can be financially free in 4 weeks. Yeah. You can make £10,000 next month if you buy my program. It's all of that. It's a get rich quick. It's part and parcel. It's like,
I think that's what everyone's looking for at the moment as well, and that's why it's so attractive.
It doesn't exist. There's the lottery. Yeah. You can drop on. You know, put £1 on, you might win. You've got a scratch card. You know, you might inherit some money from a family member that you didn't know about, or a family member that you do know about has passed away. But I personally understand the struggle. I do. I know how difficult it is to get the cars and the houses and everything you want, and not everybody wants materialistic things. And you know, when people haven't got when people haven't got a Ferrari or a Lamborghini, they're like, oh, you know, it's not everything. But then when they make the first £1 million, they're like, oh, you know, I wouldn't mind a Ferrari or a Lamborghini. So you've got to see from everyone's perspective. But get rich quick in the UK is crazy. Everybody thinks they're going to be rich in a month. And guys, that is not the case. That doesn't exist.
Yeah. No, I couldn't agree more. And that's where, for me, I switched it over in terms of, because, you know, I left an extremely high-paying role to set up the business. And for me, what I realised, and I wish everyone could see it this way, there's a guy, Jim Rohn, which I listen to quite a lot. And what he says is, it's not about making the £1 million or £2 million or £3 million. It's who you're becoming and the person you become to earn that amount. Yeah. Because you could lose that. And
well, they say, you know, if they took all the money in the world, split it up and gave it to everyone, you know, within a year, they'll go back to the same people, because it's about not what you've got, but who. You know,
I'm a massive advocate for that, because I think if I lost everything tomorrow, I could earn it all again. Yeah. And I actually think it'd be easier this time. Because I have the experience.
Of course.
And that is what I personally think of myself. I genuinely think I could easily become what I am today and more if I lost it all. Yeah. But that's because I've been through the process and I wasn't given it, and it wasn't handed to me. That's it. So on that note, where did you get this from? You know, your business, entrepreneurship and all this, where's it come from? Because like you said, you quit a high-paying job. Yeah. Not many people will do that. A lot of my friends are accountants and certain things, and they've got a little portfolio, and I say to them, you know, you could earn so much more money because you're really good at this property world. Oh, no, I've got security. I'm on £60,000, £80,000 a year. I'm okay. So what made you quit your job and think, right, this is for me? Is that from your childhood? Is it family members, or is it just in you?
I wish I could say there was like some crazy story and, you know, I was, you know, selling sweets, although we're doing the whole mentors thing. But really, I got more forced into it because of where the company was going in that direction. It just didn't sit right with me. But I also identified like not a gap in the market, that we spoke about this off camera. There's not that many resale companies. So when I say resale, not new build properties, right? So standard, older than 12 years or 10 years, whatever they call it. There's not that many companies that are doing it. So I posted my story. By 25, I want to be in the top 5 in terms of deal volume, turnover, and all that sort of stuff in terms of resale properties. So where it came from was really, I was in a position where I learned every single part of the company. I wore all the different hats. And the company went through like, turbulent times where people were getting sacked and people getting hired and all that sort of stuff. But I was always the foundation of the company, which meant I wore different hats. The whole process. I would, let's say find the deal, build the relationships up with the clients, do the admin, progress the sale to completion, and repeat that process over and over again at a very young age, which just led to the point where I was like,
I can do this myself.
Yeah, I can do it myself.
I'm getting someone else paid and I'm taking a salary, but
there's nothing wrong with that. Don't get me wrong. Like, I would have wanted to carry on that relationship, but it just got to a stage where it was kind of not toxic, but it was like, well, we're not going in the same direction. Okay. Your agenda's that, I want to do that. So I kind of got forced into it. That's what I would say. Otherwise, I don't think if everything was going so well there, because I was offered equity. Yeah. Which not luckily, but I took a bit of time to really reflect and think about that. I took advice and everything. But in terms of where it came from, it's just essentially, I got pushed into that direction. I had to go into this direction.
That's good. The last 3 guests was all paper rounds, sweets,
it started off paper
cars and all that kind of stuff. What about yourself, Max? What about you?
I think sort of similar to, well, if it's similar or not, I'd say for me it's sort of the struggle. Yeah. Sort of not having what other people have. Yeah. And I think, for me it's always about having, wanting to sort of have more.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with having more.
No.
Nothing wrong at all.
I think more. I think
I agree with that massively. Again,
I think society now sort of tells you not to do that, not to have more, and I think that's totally the wrong information. I think you should be wanting to get more and going out and get it for yourself. So I think for me, it's always sort of been there from young, and that was probably one of the reasons why me and Collins sort of got along so well, and obviously on the journey now. So
what's the plan? What's the plan, guys, for the next? Do you do 6 month yearly goal, 6 month goals, yearly goals, 5 years, 10 years? How does it work in the company? First of all, actually, because I can see the name. Where did the name come from?
So good question. It was actually me and my younger brother. I think it was 3 or 4 years ago. I had the domain just parked there. The name came from procured, means to obtain something with delicate care and effort, and it couldn't ring true enough in terms of what we do. With property, we generally find these deals with care, effort, as if we were buying these, as if we were introducing it to our families. And that's really where the name came from, and it kind of rolls quite nice.
Yeah, it does. It's really
property.
Cool.
So, and it can go into other ventures as well.
And the property as well, like the name Procured, like you said, it's a delicate, it's like a fine sort of name. Property is very aggressive, very fast paced. Everyone.
Well, that's what it's like in the office every day.
Yeah. Again, your offices are in Central, aren't they? Staff
Liverpool
members. You mentioned to me before this, you had 8 of you now.
Yeah, 8 of us.
So how fast has that grown from when it was just you two? Was it just you two originally, or was there someone else?
No, so it was actually yourself.
So it was me first. I started the company, and then, as you do, I went through 2 or 3 bad hires initially. Yeah. And then we got Ethan Flores. The time was at another company, and he was like free, essentially. And I was like, we worked together before.
Is Ethan still there?
Yeah, he's still there. He's still there now.
So he came in, and then there was another individual, and that was where I was building out the portfolio managers, or the people that speak with investors. And then I was doing the acquisitions, so all the sourcing myself. I realised I need to step out of that. And Max is... We like to use the analogy of football in the sense that Max became available.
Free transfer.
He put his transfer request. And I just said to Max,
come on.
For joining.
And
how many was when you joined, Max? How many was the team then?
Well, that was back in May now.
Yep.
So what, about 3-4 months? And probably there was 5.
So it was less than that. It was Ethan, Ben, Olivia.
And then obviously me.
Samir, what's that?
Yeah, Samir.
Samir,
Obviously,
so
yeah,
So there was
with us
5
now.
of you,
5.
and now within the time that you've joined, there's another 3 members come on.
yeah.
What's their roles?
So the another 3. So the 2. Who's actually? Oh, sorry, sales progression.
Yeah.
So for those who understand, sales progression is someone who, as soon as someone agrees to buy the property, they help progress that case to completion, keys in hand.
They have a checklist on, presuming, and they follow it through.
Chase up solicitors, mortgage brokers, everyone within the transaction. So they're doing sales progression.
Sorry to interrupt you there. When do you guys get paid?
In terms, so we get paid
Because obviously you charge your investors a fee.
Yeah.
So when do you take payment? Because this is a huge question that I get on social media from people. Right?
Yeah.
I'm a deal sourcer.
Yeah.
When do I take payment?
So we work on the model of a retained model. So what that means is it's very similar to if you're going to open up an account with like a stock trading platform. You open up an account and you fund the account because you have the intention to invest. So we took that model into what we're doing. So what that means is, so we charge a fee of which we ask for an initial deposit, which is £499. In the grand scheme of things, it's completely nothing to what they're going to do.
Well, that initial
upfront
payment separates the messers and the people who
Oh,
are
absolutely,
ready.
absolutely. And it gives us a lot of confidence when you go into the marketplace and secure stock, because we have 25 people with an account with us, a fee with us, and criteria.
I was going to add to that as well. I think that's, again, it comes back to the experience that the client has. You know, coming back to a lot of deal sources now, it's a case of, you know, putting someone on a mailing list and, you know, they just get sent whatever.
So
whereas for us, it's sort of, it's a one-on-one. It's a bit more personal. And like we say, you know, you've got a designated portfolio manager who sort of, you know, speaks to you.
There's
Do you
no
have
one
a
in-
time
And,
limit? So when someone puts their deposit down, do you say to them, you will find them a deal within this time, or is it just there's no time limit, there's nothing like that?
So contractually, it's I think we have it down as 6 months. But
Okay.
We I mean, we get them something within the week.
Yeah.
You know, so we just obviously leave.
That's key, isn't it?
Have something.
Yeah, it's
The
about
faster you deliver,
absolutely
the quicker people, and
Yeah,
word of
absolutely.
mouth is key, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, we've had a lot of repeat business now, because where initially when we started, obviously you got to wait for all the completions to go through.
Yeah.
And then after that, it's repeat. But the whole idea is to build a portfolio, so they're just going to keep coming back to you. So,
Okay. And what would you say to the people at home who are watching, who have dreams of doing what you're doing? Because there is a lot of people out there that want to do this, but then they also have in the back of the mind, I want to build my own portfolio.
Yeah.
What do you guys think about the portfolio side as well? Do you guys want to build your own portfolio as well as getting it for other people, or what's the plan? Because I know I get asked that question, like I said, people want to do what you do, but they also want a portfolio as well.
Well, I guess, you know, whoever's asking the question is if it's from a place of, you know, they've not got a portfolio at the moment.
Yep.
I think, you know, definitely doing the deal sourcing is a good way to start.
Yep.
Because I think no matter if you're sourcing or buying the property yourself, you're sourcing anyway. So it comes down to how good can you find the deal, how good's the numbers.
Yeah.
And if you're able to do it for someone else and make and be confident that someone else is investing into you, then you're probably most likely going to be confident in yourself buying that property as well.
Because when you're searching for houses, the numbers might not add up for a house that you're personally searching for, but it will work for somebody else. So that's technically how deal sourcing came about. Someone didn't want the house one day and said to the friend, do you want it? The numbers don't work for me. And then obviously
and not just that, you know, they might not be in the position to buy it.
Yep.
You know, that's you know,
on your question with the portfolio thing, because that's something I had to revisit just before we went into lockdown and everything last year. It's dependent on your circumstances. I would say, because I think you know very, very well in the sense that wealth is broken down, I think, in 3.
Yep.
Wealth creation, wealth acceleration, and then protecting your wealth.
Yep.
At the end of it, preserving it. If you're starting from zero, I don't know, like I say, it's not advice or anything, but personally, I would work on the skills to generate income, to make money.
Not total your whatever you've got in the world up in one.
One, and then So that's what I'd. Unless you know for yourself you can consistently generate that income for a certain period of time. Then now you've got a place where you've got the resources. Just you need to get that working for you. So it's dependent on your situation, but definitely have your eye on investing. But not too soon because you restrict yourself. Because last year I liquidated a lot of positions. I had stocks and share ISA, property and all that, and I done that so that I could double down on the business because
you need your cash flow.
Precisely.
Okay.
Yeah, precisely.
Next question. Relationships. So you two have emphasised to me how much you work, how much you put into this. You're laughing already because you're thinking.
I know where this is going.
So relationships. Do you have time? Do you have partners? What's the score with that?
Why are you looking at me?
I don't know why we're giggling.
I don't know.
School kids, but no. For me, I've struggled with relationships because I'm quite obsessed about work, and work usually sort of comes first.
Yeah.
Well, not usually, all the time. Recently came out of one 2 months ago, 2-3 months ago, because of that sort of very reason. Yeah. And especially the business was really picking up, and we moved offices into in London, the commute, and all that sort of stuff. So personally, I haven't figured out how to have the balance. I generally, I wouldn't even know where to begin because I've tried.
It comes.
And I've just made a decision for the time being.
I'm going to focus on the business.
Yeah.
But that's good, because then if you do find somebody, it's natural. But if you go out looking for somebody and your focus is the business, then that person's second best. 100%. So it's probably not the right time right now for you. What about you?
Yeah, similar situation. I think it's hard to find someone when you're working 24/7. But I think more specifically, I think for me, if I was to put it on paper and say, right, this is the person I want, I would say it's someone that's definitely on the same path as me, and the same mindset. And I think at the moment, it's like you say, just invest whatever you invest your time into, you'll get back. And I think at the moment I'm investing a lot of time into the business, and I think, like you say, naturally something will be attracted from that, and whatever happens, happens.
What are your thoughts?
Well, you've met my Isabella.
Yeah.
We've been together 6 years. We do this together.
Wow.
So we're both on the same path. We both have the same vision, and it's just absolutely unbelievable. Like, we've never argued. 6 years, we've not even had one crossword.
Really?
Which is, when you think about it, you're like, huh? Well, how does that work?
Yeah. How does that so you've got the work environment.
Yeah.
How does that transfer to,
It's very different for us because, like you guys live and breathe this, and we live and breathe what we do.
Yeah.
So we go home, and if we still have to talk about what's going on at work, it doesn't seem like it's a sit-down meeting.
Yeah,
it's just like, I'm sitting on the sofa and she's
talking about Netflix or whatever.
Or something, and then she'll go, oh, did you do this? Did you do that? And I'm like, yeah, that's done, that's not done. And then the conversation will just flow into something else. Yeah. So it's not like we go home, we sit at the table and we hash out all the stuff that we've done that day. It just progresses into just a nice flowing conversation. She has her role, I have my role. I make sure mine's done, she makes sure hers is done, and the business stays exactly where it needs to be. And I think it's just an understanding.
Yeah. Would you say there's a benefit in it at all?
100%.
Is it actually?
Yeah, 1,000,000%. If you can find somebody that is with you all the way, like, she supports everything I want to do. She supports, just like everything she wants to do, I support. And like I said, we both have the same goal. We both know what we want, and we talked about it, and we just go out and get it every day.
Yeah, because that's
probably you hit the jackpot with that. Yeah,
unbelievable. People, I mean, like Duna's walking around. You can, like, he's there. He's looked at us, and I know he's thought, like, Jesus Christ, this is a joke. These two, like, they don't ever have a disagreement. It's the maddest thing in the world. But that's because we both know what we want. So how can you have a disagreement when you're both going in the same direction?
How did you meet? What?
Oh, that's for a whole other podcast.
Yeah. That's a kettle of fish.
Yeah, that's a whole other podcast. It was a crazy story. But yeah, we've been together 6 years now, engaged for 5. Yeah. And yeah, we've built this crazy empire that's unbelievable. So we've done it together.
That's amazing.
It's really good.
It's hard at this age as well for us because I'm 24, right? And where I'm at in life, 24-year-old girls
on the same.
They're either finishing uni or starting a career, or even if we go older.
Yeah, it's not
in the same age. It's a different life.
They are there though.
Yeah,
they are out there.
Yeah.
Maybe not look in the Foley. Maybe look.
In the library.
In the library.
Picking up some personal development books.
Yeah. Yeah, but inspiration
Yeah.
is probably a main thing. Who do you take inspiration from? Who do you follow, or is there nobody you follow?
I think big ones for me is
Yep.
Grant Cardone.
Okay.
I talk about him all the time.
Yep.
He's high energy. The
10x guy.
10x, yeah. The way he expresses himself.
Yep.
I think in some ways I'm similar in an aspect.
Okay.
So I thrive off of his energy. But I think from more of a deeper thinking and understanding, I think Jim Rohn
Okay.
is a big one for me. He sort of, it's the golden nuggets that I get from him.
Okay.
I think those are the main two for me.
Yourself?
Yeah. Jim Rohn.
You mentioned him earlier, didn't you?
Yeah, Jim Rohn, absolutely. He was the one that kind of sort of got my mind shifted from, because one key phrase he says: if you work harder on yourself than you do on your job, like it's just infinite returns.
Okay.
Your staff might not want to hear this.
Yeah.
But, so yeah, that was a big he's a big inspiration. And then it's just the big guys. So we've got obviously Jeff Bezos.
Elon Musk.
Elon Musk.
That's I'm a massive Elon Musk fan.
His journey is insane, and just and there's a few other people. I like the social media guys as well.
Who do you like on social media? Actually, let's talk about that.
Keep it. Okay, social media wise.
Yeah.
I'd say obviously we've got Grant Cardone, but I've fallen out of touch with him over the last year.
Yeah.
I'd say. But right now,
That's mad, isn't it? How you can really like someone, not fall out of liking them, but you can really follow somebody and then literally just switch off. I'm a big Grant Cardone fan, as in, what did he raise a couple of months ago? 50 million in 5 days. With no, it was just the craziest thing ever. Yeah. But then sometimes when I just switch off a little bit. So he does get my attention.
Yeah.
But then sometimes I lose focus. The one that we talked about before was Gary V.
On
another podcast.
Yeah, I've gone off him. I used to watch him a lot,
Yeah,
with the daily V's and stuff.
Yeah, I switched off from Gary V, and then I tried to get back into it because a friend of mine is a massive Gary V fan. And
I'll tell you what, he was one of the first for me as well. Going back to why am I doing what I'm doing now?
Yep.
Probably about 17 was Elle Nightingale.
Okay,
I'm unsure.
There's the old school video. It's like black and white. I don't even think he's moving.
I'm gonna have to have a look at who that is.
All
you can hear is the audio.
Movement,
Okay.
And he says very simply. This is very bluntly how he puts it. He said, if you want to make bake a cake, don't go to the butcher. So whatever you're looking to do in life, if you're looking at, say, yourself, us, whoever, the camera guy behind the camera, all you've got to do is go and find someone who's already doing it, who's already ahead of you.
I say that every day of my life. Every single day.
And this comes back to why people fail, because they're listening to the wrong people.
If you want to buy a Range Rover, go and speak to the guy who drives a Range Rover. Don't speak to the guy who drives a Mercedes.
Yeah.
I say every
and make
day,
sure he owns it, doesn't lease it.
Yeah, I say it every single day. Who else on social media then? So you said social media guys.
Yeah, I think. Drawing a blank. I mean, like I said, this year,
I struggle with
JB,
social media.
Did you listen
guys.
to JB?
Is that Jordan
Belfort?
I think he's a prick.
Yeah, did you? What,
I don't really.
What was your thoughts
I'm
on
not,
the?
I'm not a big fan of his. Don't get me wrong. I like the film Wall Street.
Of course,
Good film to watch. But as when I listen to him talk, I just think, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, he's a. What did you think of there was the interview on the Wolf's Den?
Yeah, I know.
Him and Grant Cardone. What did you think?
Grant don't like him.
Yeah.
Clear as day. But I think he don't like him because he knows he's a bullshitter.
Yeah.
And Grant Cardone.
He just says it how it is.
Yeah, so Grant Cardone is someone who is out there raising funds, buying real estate, giving people returns.
Yeah.
That's his business model. He'll take $1 million from you.
Yeah.
And he'll buy a building, he'll rent it out, he'll give you your return, and after, I'm presuming, 18 months, 2 years of being tied in, you can take your money back out, or you can continue the investments. That's Grant Cardone's business model from what I see from the outside. Obviously, he might have a whole fucking different plan, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Jordan's plan was, I'm going to rip you off, 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 and I'm going to keep all the money.
Yeah. Well, he said it in one of his interviews as well, Grant Cardone. He said, Are you going to trust the guy who's 100 million in debt?
Yeah.
Or are you going to trust me who's got, you know, I think it's about £2 billion portfolio
Worth of
now.
assets,
Yeah.
And that's why I'm not a massive Jordan fan. Like I said, I like his movie.
Great movie,
I think the
but-
movie's unbelievable.
yes.
But as a human being, if you walked in here and asked me for a fiver, I'd tell him to fuck off.
Integrity is a big thing.
Yeah, credibility.
Credibility.
I live my whole life on credibility.
Yeah.
So I drive around in my cars, my number plates are there, I'm out on the street walking and stuff like that, because nobody can come up to me and say, oh, I owe them a penny, or you've done this to me, or you done that to me.
Yeah.
Jordan, I'm presuming, can't even walk down the street without 2 security guards.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
But credibility, again, in business, not just in anything, in business and in life, credibility to me is number one.
Yeah.
Being able just to do whatever you want to do without anybody saying you've done anything against them. And I don't think Jordan can actually...
He's got that tag now,
He's
isn't
got a
he?
tag now. No matter what he does,
He's branded for life.
yeah,
shake
he's
it off.
branded for life. So anybody that aspires to be Jordan is massively aspiring
Yeah.
to be the wrong thing,
Yeah, yeah,
you know.
100%.
But Grant Cardone, or is it Cardone? I don't know how you pronounce his name. He's just doing it right, I think. You either love him or hate him, though. He's Marmite.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
the
I
thing.
like-
There's no
yeah,
middle
he's
ground.
Marmite.
Yeah.
For me,
He's
I'd
Marmite.
say.
So,
Yeah.
so anybody going forward from today that want to get in touch with you, what's the best way? Because we're going to put all your tags in the description and the link below. But is it just would you prefer
just
just
drop
an
a-
email
drop-
or a phone call or a
drop a
DM on
DM.
Instagram?
Drop a DM. You know, we're always, well, obviously we're not working hours, but
Yep.
whenever there's a free time, like I say, drop me a DM.
I'm presuming there will be some people who want to speak to you guys. Everybody's always looking for somebody to find them properties.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the way you guys have explained it today, I don't know why you wouldn't get at least a few hundred people messaging you saying, you know, below market value deals in today's market. There's not many people out there doing that.
Yeah.
So guys, drop we'll have all the description in the link below. There'll be their Instagram, their websites. Will you have an email that they can contact you
Yeah,
on?
we've got inquiries at procuredproperty.com.
Okay, we'll put that up on the screen as well. And guys, I really appreciate you coming. Real insight into who you are. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having us.
Appreciate it.
That's it today, guys. Join us for the next podcast and leave a comment below on who you want to see next as well, please. So on that note, see you guys later. Thank you, guys.